Hey, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of A Voice for All. I am your host, Jamila Gamble, and I trust you have had a fantastic week. As always, I encourage you to connect with me, Jam fan page, facebook.com/Miss Jam Gamble. You can tweet me at Miss Jam PCCS. I love hearing your messages and your show suggestions. Speaking of Twitter, this is exactly how I found my next guest. Kevin Baker is the Dean of Durham College Whitby's campus, and he is not just a dean, as you could tell. This does not look like your typical dean, and I'll tell you what else he does in a second. And next to him is his very handsome son, Cameron, who we will be also talking to as well. So this is going to be a great show, and I'm sure what you're going to hear is going to be extremely important to you. So make sure you are tuning in and listening to every detail. Kevin.
How are you?
I'm good. You don't look like the typical dean.
I may not be.
No suit, no tie.
Try not to do those
You
things.
look like a biker.
I love biking.
You love biking. How did Ride for Inclusion come to be?
Well, it's been a sort of a series of events that led to ultimately the Ride for Inclusion. The club I belong to in Clarington actually has been supporting inclusion for a number of years, and it started with a young man named Max Begley, who had his grandmother had received a hate letter from a neighbor several years ago, and it was my club that actually organized a rally to support Max and his family, really just to say, look, we don't think that's the kind of message or the kind of community we live in. We want to be more inclusive and so on. So we had this big rally for Max.
Now, sorry to interrupt, for people who are tuning in, remind me, the letter that she received was basically someone telling her she should euthanize?
That's correct.
Yeah, about that.
It was terrible. So that was the first example, and then the second example was a young man in Peterborough, which is near us, this winter, who had named Odin Camus, and Odin's mom had sent out birthday invitations to his class, and no one showed up. Or no one responded. So she sent out a message on social media saying, look, no one responded. Would you come to my son's birthday? Would you text him and tell him you love him and so on? And it was overwhelming response. And really, there were two things I learned about that. A, I could relate to that experience because Cam, while we've not experienced hate, we certainly have probably felt some exclusion, but really what was, I think, more important for me was the fact that we felt the positive, the inclusion part. We know that the community is there and supporting us.
They're still good out there.
There's a lot of it, but we don't hear about it very often.
Very true.
So I really wanted to celebrate that. So part of our ride, for example, is we have something called Champions of Inclusion. So we'll actually be awarding in every town we stop in.
Very cool.
As we go across North America, we'll be awarding a Champion of Inclusion.
Wow. Now, can this people like in the community nominate that person? Okay.
Yeah. So
that can be found on your website.
Right. So we're actually promoting it through social media and on the website. We're asking people in each of our stops as we go across North America. We'll be asking them to nominate people from their local community.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
So you've taken your passion for biking, which some people, they may already have their whole opinion on what your typical biker is, but you're doing something that's truly remarkable for the community and for your son.
And the biking community does that actually quite often. I mean, we have there's a tremendous number of charity rides. Last weekend, for example, I just did the Ride for Dad, where we raise money for prostate cancer. There's all kinds of rides like that going around where the bike community is supporting all kinds of good causes. So it's not, I mean, certainly there is an element of the bike community that is what I would call a criminal or organized crime. But I mean, the reality is there are literally tens of thousands of motorcyclists out there. And we enjoy our passion, but it's it's a very engaged and supportive community.
So speaking of this community, Cameron, how do you feel about, one, your dad being a biker? What do your friends at school say when you go, my dad's a biker?
Well, I don't really bring that up often. It's just kind of something that I just know, and I'm actually like, oh, hey, my dad's a biker. Yeah. And me, my brother, and my sister, we always tend to joke around, you know, about what bikers usually are. Like, we joke around a bit, going, you know, just kind of like, you know, just making like jokes about a bit of violence and all that.
But not in this case. Your dad's doing it for a good cause. So how do you feel about your dad basically going across the country to promote inclusion and autism? How does that make you feel?
Well, it actually makes me a bit proud to, you know, have him as my dad.
Awesome.
Yeah, 'cause I just never imagined that somebody in my family would do something like this big.
And do you realize who he's doing that for?
Yeah, not only me, but also a lot of other people around the world.
Who have autism.
Yeah.
So when your dad and I first met, we talked about, you know, you were a big topic of discussion. What's your take on autism? What does autism mean to you?
Well, what I actually know about it is that it's actually just like, you know, a symptom. That it's not something with a clear symptom. It's like something with a variety of symptoms that can like just be grabbed from like anywhere.
Okay.
Like
so
just completely random. Like,
so because you have autism, does that make you different? Like, does that make you?
well, in a way.
But bad different or good different?
Well, it kind of depends on the situation.
Good answer. Why is that?
Because sometimes it can be a type of like a type of different where it's like, you know, where I'm just like have a bunch of different interests and like and different people will come to me and go like, oh my god, I like that too. But sometimes it can be it can be a different where like I just do something sometime and then like other people like won't relate and you know they might stay away for a bit, but you know I still have other good friends.
You know what I say to that? You will meet people who don't understand your passions, and that's totally cool. There might be people watching who are going, why is his dad riding across Canada? You have a reason for it, you know? So where are some of the places that you plan to be stopping and people could look out for you?
So we're actually going right across, we leave Whitby on July 2nd and we go north to Thunder Bay. So we're stopping in towns like Sudbury, Sault Ste. Marie, Thunder Bay, Winnipeg. We work our way west all the way to a small town. It's not even really a town, it's a industrial stop on the Arctic Ocean called Dead Horse, Alaska.
Wow.
So we stop there
and
then we start working our way back down through sort of northeastern BC down into Calgary and then across through Regina and back and then down to Florida.
So when you're making these stops, what are you guys doing at each of these stops?
So we'll be meeting with communities. So we hopefully we've been reaching out to all of the different community groups that support people with disabilities of all types.
Okay.
Encouraging them to come out and meet with us so we can meet the families, meet the service providers, and so on. Just so we can talk. The media, the press will be there, and so on. So we want to sort of reintroduce those folks to the media.
Yes.
But really, we just want to meet them. We want them to see the bike. We want them to sit on it. We want them to take pictures with us.
Are you raising money while you're doing this?
We are. That's not really our primary goal.
Okay.
We certainly are raising money for we have a program at Durham College called the CICE program, or Community Integration Through Cooperative Education, which is a program designed specifically for young people with intellectual disabilities.
Yes.
So we will be raising funds to create a type of an award fund for those students. So that's certainly something that we want to do as a sort of byproduct of this ride.
So it's like a multi-purposeful ride.
It's really about promoting inclusion. So it's really about talking to people about, you know, the thing that I've experienced myself and my wife and everyone in our family with Cameron, and I know this is the case with other parents, is people don't know how to talk about it. They're afraid to ask.
Yes.
They're afraid to ask, how do I support you? They're afraid to ask, how do we include Cameron in activities and so on. So it's really about encouraging people to say, it's okay if you're curious about how to be more inclusive, let's talk about that.
Well, what I love the most is that sometimes people are afraid to go to events or go to certain service providers and get the information. You guys are going to them.
Right.
You know, that you're really reaching out and you're connecting to them, which is the best way sometimes to break that barrier.
Right. And yeah, and people are curious. I mean, motorcycles are intimidating to some people. Bikers are intimidating to some people. So this idea of just demystifying that a bit and just making it exciting. This is an incredibly challenging ride. I mean, we're doing 20,000 kilometers in 31 days. That has caught the curiosity of the media. It's caught the curiosity of other bikers and so on. So it's about bringing people together.
I love that.
And
now,
about talking.
Cameron, we have a minute left, literally a minute left. So I'm giving you 10 seconds to say, for those people who are watching and maybe they know you, what is one thing about you that they don't know that you wish they knew about you?
That Digimon is one of my favorite things ever.
Really? It's such an old show.
I know. I watched the 5 original seasons. The first 3 being on Netflix, the other 2 on YouTube.
Cameron just had an opportunity to break barriers and tell people, this is something I want you to know about me, and he dedicated it to Digimon. There you go, folks.
Wow.
Ride for Inclusion. Look out for them. If you are watching maybe outside of the province, look out for those bikers. Jump on their bike. Get that information. We are not done with A Voice for All. Stay tuned after the break. We have way more information for you to watch.
Yay.
Yeah, you did good. And welcome back to A Voice for All. I am your host, Jamila Gamble. And on this segment, we are going to be focusing about post-secondary education. So any of you parents who have a child who is 21 and you are wondering what is next, this episode is for you. As always, I encourage you to get in touch with me, facebook.com/Miss Jam Gamble. You could also tweet me at Miss Jam PCCS. And the guests that I have with me this evening, their information will be at the bottom of the screen too, so be sure to connect with them. So I have Liz and Lisa. You guys just had to come with similar names. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. But Liz is the program lead and learning facilitator. And Lisa, you are a graduate of the CICE program.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read it because it's literally a mouthful. The CICE stands for the community, my goodness, it's a mouthful. Community Integration Through Cooperative Education. Woo!
You got it.
Thank you. Thank you for that
You're
reinforcement.
welcome.
Liz, tell me, I've never heard about this program until I spoke to Kevin. What is this program all about for those who are watching?
Definitely. This is a program that's designed for individuals that require modification to their program in order to be successful. It allows them the opportunity to come in and just have that college experience, but also have it in a supported environment where they have learning facilitators that are there to assist and modify to match their ability, and also for them to have the opportunity to go out into the working world, take the classroom knowledge that they've gained, and go out into the working world and have placement experience, so that if they are looking to move on to employment or a volunteer opportunity, they get that the skills, the job skills, while they're there with us as well. So they kind of get the whole thing together.
Now, for parents who may be watching, who maybe they have a child who's in high school who may have a learning disability or another form of disability, would you not say that this is probably like a bit of hope for them, for those who, you know, ever wondered if their child would be going to college, that this kind of creates that opportunity?
Definitely. I think it is a wonderful opportunity, and quite often we have parents say just that, that it is giving them an option that before just wasn't out there for students to come into a college program. And quite often they have siblings that are going away to college. So it's terrific that they can also have that same experience.
That's what I love the most, because unfortunately for some of the individuals who are 21, they kind of get pushed off that cliff. You guys are almost like a net underneath that cliff who's like, we're here. Not just here, we're here. Definitely. So Lisa, you are a graduate of the program. Tell me, how was it for you?
I loved it. It was really rewarding because I first heard about the program from my mom, who heard about it through somebody at work. And I applied there after being rejected from several different programs at different colleges, and I got the interview, applied, and I got accepted, which was amazing. And it was the work that I put into it, as long as having the supports of the LF, the tutorials, the modified workload, it helped a lot.
When you were in high school, were there any teachers who might have told you that you would probably never go to college?
Actually in grade 8, when it was time for me to go to school, basically my mom went to an IEP meeting and she asked would I be able to go to college, and they said no, because I'd be in the essential, the workplace courses, and I had the lack of support from an EA in high school, only in some courses, so I didn't do really well. Like, I was lucky to have graduated high school.
So how do you guys help graduates like Lisa get to this point?
Well, we really, because we're offering an opportunity for students that are graduating high school either with an Ontario Secondary School diploma or an Ontario Secondary School certificate, one or the other. That's our biggest difference right there. And then we provide the information. We have information sessions out there so that parents and students can make sure it's the right fit for them. It's something that they're looking for. And
it's only 20. It's only 20
we
people?
accept 20 students per year.
Wow.
Yes.
How do you even go about selecting who that 20 is?
There's a definite process that they have to go through. They have to submit an application. They go through OCAS, as any other college student does, submit an online application, and then they have a CICE application, and there's also an interview process as well. That's all outlined in on the college website if anyone was interested in seeing it, or at our information sessions we discuss that in a lot more detail, just to help people prepare for that part, and so that they understand what the process is.
But with anything, there's going to be a process, right?
Definitely.
So the fact that there's a similar process to any other college students.
Right.
Bravo. Now, Lisa, what did you graduate with?
I graduated with the President's Honor Roll.
Wow.
I also graduated the highest ranking graduate of the CICE program in my year in 2013. So I had 2 certificates. One was an Ontario College certificate in CICE with honors, and then my highest ranking graduate certificate.
So I'm going to give you a second here to look at the camera and tell that grade 8 teacher, ha!
Ha! I did it.
And now you're an ECE.
I was fortunate enough that right after school, I found something in my field. And then I started off as on-call, and then right when I graduated, I moved up.
Wow.
And I've also held down, I'm also in different volunteer jobs, so I'm pretty busy. And I've also gotten, a volunteer service award recently.
Now, Lisa is clearly the success story of the CICE program.
She's an amazing young lady.
With the other students that you have in there, are there any hardships that they, maybe face when they leave the program? Or do you feel like they leave feeling prepared that they could take on what's out there for them?
There is definitely a transition when they leave the program. They've made a lot of great friends, a lot of great experiences. It's kind of been their entire life for 2 years, because a college student is very busy. But we have a transition event that we hold for our graduates every year at the end of the year, and that's an event set up so that they can start to create those bridges to life after college. So they can look at employment opportunities or people that can assist them in finding employment, volunteer opportunities, recreation activities in the community that are available, clubs that are available. So we start to try to create those links to many different services that will help them go out into the big world after college and move on.
How are you seeing the graduates, the 20 graduates that you guys have each year?
Yes.
How's that changing the workforce? You know, already some people are very skeptical about hiring people with disabilities or learning disabilities. How is what you guys doing changing that perception?
Well, I like to think that it's improving it. We have amazing students that have so much to offer this world. And luckily, through their placements, because they have 3 different placements, employers have the opportunity to have these students come in. They're working for free. It's a placement, and they shine. They have amazing skills, and they show them exactly what they can do. And it's a learning process for them, so they just improve placement after placement. So by the time they're ready to leave, they are amazing.
They're ready. So Lisa, if there's any students who may be watching, what advice would you give to them who are, you know, maybe they're a little nervous about going to college?
Oh, I was actually the same way, because with the autism diagnosis when I was young, there's so many things the doctor said I'd never be able to do, and I proved them wrong.
You could say hi to him too.
I could say hi to him too, yes. But my advice is, what you put into it is what you're gonna get out of it. And if you put your 100% into it like I did, you're gonna get 100% back. And I had to overcome a lot too in college, because it was a shock being from high school to college, but I eventually just took it one step at a time, and I got to where I'm at because of the experience.
I'm looking at Lisa and I'm wondering, like, what other fantastic students you guys have in your program? You know, we have just under a minute left. For any parents who may be watching and are, you know, curious about this program or curious about their child getting into college, what advice do you have for them?
Again, I would definitely say either go onto the website and check out our website, or come to one of our information sessions, because that's a great opportunity to learn about not only the process of coming into the program, but the program. And it's a great opportunity to meet graduates like Lisa and our current students right now, and hear about their experiences and hear about challenges that they faced getting into the program or while being in the program. So it's a very real perspective on all levels, and find out what a terrific opportunity it is.
You see, this is why I love A Voice for All. Parents and teachers, if you are an educator and you have a spec ed student in your class and you are telling them that they're not going to get anywhere in 10 years, shame on you. Change your mind, change your attitude, because that is not how we prepare our future. We do not put them down like that. Clearly, there are students who have so much potential, and thanks to programs like CICE, they are getting ready for the job force. They are showing employers that they are ready, willing, and able to work, and that is a clear indication that we are going in the right direction. So this has been another fantastic episode of A Voice for All. Thank you, Liz and Lisa.
Thank you.
Tongue twister names, thank you so much. Again, their information's at the bottom of the screen. My information's at the bottom of the screen. Please connect. I will connect you to groups like this. I will see you guys next week, and enjoy your week. Take care.